Good afternoon and welcome to the daily wrap-up here with ForexAnalytix. We're seeing a fairly quiet session. We are seeing the euro dollar come into a resistance zone. If you're with ForexAnalytix, you'll see or you'll have access with the analysis that I do prior to the start of the week. I call it the Asian analysis. As the week starts off, it says euro has reached the interim target of 1372, confluence with 1377, the 38% of 1108 to 1815, and 1378, the 78% of 1108 to 1448, the most recent high. Risk reward diminishes over the short term at this valuation. Upside resistance is at 1389 to 1413. Initial daily support is 1326, followed by 1291. Well, you can see we've gone and reached into that zone that I've referenced, 1389 to 1413. Market's still holding up fairly well, has not backed off much. When we did our bias chart resistance this morning, and once again, if you're a ForexAnalytix member, one of the things you're also able to do is watch us on the European crossover webinar, which is at 4 a.m. Eastern time. But if you're not trading in Europe, it is recorded and played about an hour, or made available in the chat room about an hour and a half before the New York Open. So you can watch the recording. And our resistance was 1396. Initially, that actually held the market to the pip, and we kind of backed off. Then we made another high at 1399. And getting back in here is, I think we've got this area here. I'm a bit surprised we haven't started to weaken a bit, but I think this has more to do with the cash dollar index. And I'll tell you why. Is because we've had, look at these two solid bars. I mean, just big moves and followed by another big move. So those that stood in the way of this thing have just gotten absolutely mowed down. And so when we start out the week, I'm thinking, okay, they might push it a little bit higher and then start to roll over as we come back in here. And then maybe we can pick up some, longs on a pullback. But they continue to push it. So I'm thinking, okay, well, now they're going to push beyond the 14, trigger some stops. Maybe we'll jump into here. But we're still holding up fairly well. Now, one of the reasons I thought this was pretty unusual today was when you look on the 30-minute, you can see here was a high that took out the prior high, and we're kind of just going and sit there, not doing a whole lot when you think about it. Look at that right here. So we take a dip back. Okay, maybe we're going to now start to slide. And I did take a scalp early in Europe and ended up adding it back after I got out of it, and I was able to add it back, but it never did go on and play out. I thought we was going to at least go into the low 70s for starters. So we came back up here, and I was able to get I actually had a limit already working, had already gotten short here, and then we slid back, and once again, nothing. I mean, you're thinking the market's really going to start to really break lower. I'm already thinking, okay, first target, I'm thinking probably get down to about 1374 for starters, and we barely even move lower. So we move back up here, and okay, now they're going to rip them. Same thing. We close on a 30-minute, which means anyone here, they're going to get stopped out. And look, we don't add very much. We just sit there and we kind of stall back. So really the door was open, if you think about it, for them to go on and pare back after being incapable of pushing beyond the 114. But if you can see here, we've only backed down just a little bit. And I saw it myself here. I'm thinking, okay, well, this isn't good. They'll probably pare back. But to me, the risk reward just simply wasn't there. As I'm thinking, okay, if I step in now, then maybe we finally broke through this 114. At the time, the dollar index was slipping back. Speaking of which, let's get to the dollar index. Well, analysis to start the week with the cash dollar index here, and you can see it coming into some very key level in here. Pull this back just a bit further. The dollar index bears are in full control as the index targets a move to 95.65. Initial support is 95.90 level, confluence with at 95.98, the 23% of the big move down, which was 88.25, all the way up here to 98.37. So you can see this coming in right here, big fib here, big fib, not so much the 23% of itself, but I'm saying of the fib of a very, very big range, all the way down to 88.25, all the way up to the highs up here at 98.37. So we got some support just below here. But also looking for a move potentially down here to 95.90. So I was thinking we might have slipped at that point. That's what I thought was going to push that euro up, push it up higher. So this is going to be interesting here. This, I think, eventually would come down to 95.65. 95.66 is 161% of this move. So that would confluence with this level that we're targeting for at 95.65. Personally, I think that the dollar index will probably start to see some bids as we get closer to G20. And I think it's really just as traders start to take some of those dollar shorts off, we'll probably start to work higher. I was hoping that we'd move, dip down here, and then turn around. So far, that is not to be the case. Now, as far as the euro, where the euro can go and stretch to, well, potentially, I'm looking up here at 1427. I guess I have to, well, let's see if we pull it up here on a 2-hour. I think that that's where we could stretch to. There we go. So it's the top of this range here, but I think we can make it up here to 1427, comes in right there, okay? Just where these little touches are right there, if you see here, right in there, 27. We can even push a little bit higher, even up to 30. Really comes in really between that 27 and 30. And I thought that was because I was looking at this range here. But if we blew the stops, those stops would take us. And I think we'd spike past the range, not really spike, but jump up around the 1427 to 30. And then at that point, you'll have stopped out anybody here that I think that's still hanging on to their shorts. Like, man, if we get into the 14s, I got to get out. Oh, well, if we get above this zone, I gotta get out. I just gotta get out. That's it. I'm done. And that's my thinking here. So let's go back in here to the euro. Here's the zone. Anyone still short has really, and I'm talking about short where they've been short for a while. Like maybe they shorted it at 13 in the 1320. They took it on again at 1337. And they're like, oh, man, I tell you what, if we get past 1413, that's not for everybody, but I'm just saying most people probably just say, you know what, this is ridiculous. I can't even believe it. I would have thought this thing would have pared back by now. I mean, okay, shoot, if I put my stops here, it's already going to be a pretty big loss. Okay, I'll put it at 14 right here. Here's 1420. I guess I can put right there at 1423, and that would probably allow us to jump up. Now, technically, we could even push all the way to 45, but I'm looking for a move up here to 1427 on the stretch. Meaning, if we take out these stops, probably good for a good 27 pips. Could even push a little bit more. Then I think the market can get a little bit tired because there'll be one more push again. So you had a pretty good solid move here. Another solid move. You're thinking, okay, we'll start to back down. We don't. And we're so close to 14. They trigger past the 13, 14. And then my thing would be we jump up here around 14, 27, 30-ish. Then we probably close at or below this zone. And then from there, we can start to work lower. Little bit. So that's what my take is here on the euro, i.e. dollar index, because euro comprises 56.4% of the cash dollar index. So quite often it's traded as a proxy almost. The other one is here on the cable. Cable's still holding up pretty well. Put on here for the cable. Cable is closed above the weekly resistance level of 2734. Open a challenge of the major resistance at 2802, beyond is 2842. Well, this morning we had our bias chart resistance, and we had 2768, And I think that's actually okay. So this is 27.58. So we gave it, I guess, we gave it an extra couple of pips up here to 68. But it's, yeah, we sure did. And that's where it ran out here. But the main level here is at 58 here. We're still looking okay. I mean, the thing about the cable is that despite all the bad news, it's still trying to push up a little bit higher. So you got to be careful on this one. Dollar CAD has started to languish back in a bit. This one really fell completely apart last week, so no real big changes there here with dollar CAD. Still under a lot of pressure. We'll go and pull this up here. There we go. The dollar CAD bear sent the pair careening towards major support level of 31.36. The market has caught an oversold bid. Resistance comes in at 32.67. The pair would need 2 consecutive closes above 32.95 to worry the bears. The next target is 31 even. So we're going towards this 31.36, but we'll probably overshoot that a little bit and make it down here to 31 even. I think actually, I don't remember who it was. Some bank had that. This is, but they've been in the red for some time. This was like about 4 weeks ago or something. They were looking for a move down to 31 even. So it certainly looks like we will make our way eventually there. I don't know if they still kept that trade on, but I know they announced it, I think about a month ago. They were looking for a move potentially down to 131. So it certainly looks like it will end up getting there. Nothing big on dollar yen, relatively quiet. We'll go on and just take a quick look on the cross rates. Nothing of any noteworthy news here that I'm seeing. The only thing that poses some interest here is on the Aussie yen. We'll just look at that real quick. Still hanging here near the lows. The Aussie yen is languishing at its lows with key level 74.02, keeping the downside in check. A break lower will target 72.75 to 78%, and resistance is 74.96. So we're not too far away. We'll pull this back up here to go into the 2 hour. So we're looking for is 74.96, but you can see, and that may allow them to pop right. Actually, 496 doesn't come in. And we're looking actually on the daily then. Be right there. But we still have this pretty good slot level here. I think that might just allow for a quick bop. Maybe trigger some substicks to up to that 74.96. Lastly, we'll take a look here with gold. Obviously, that's catching a lot of news. Now, also this evening at 6:45 Eastern, because I'm on Central, we do have New Zealand imports, trade balance, exports also here, all at 7:45. No Aussie news coming out at all, okay? But obviously a big mover has been here with gold. And someone's asking what kind of level or whatever. To me, I look at it as being 1438 is coming up in here. Is the next, what I feel is the next short-term target is 1438. I mean, we had quite the breakout on this thing, and really has been pretty much driven because of the potential cut in rates expected from the Fed. We talked about this. I used to follow this more closely. I haven't traded in some time, but you know, those reasons. You know, there were times when the dollar would come back, we'd see gold react to a certain extent. Other times when the stock market was in some trouble, certainly isn't now, we see gold, but none of them has made the impact with the expected cuts of the rates from the Federal Reserve. That's what's driven and broken out this market. So that's why I believe is the next target is 1438. We'd have to pull it way back here. But you can see here, this is where I'm coming up with the 1438 right there. See that? Someone was asking me, do you go with the highs or the whatever? And I said, no, I go with the touches. So I try and find the area where I'm seeing the most touches here. And that's what, to me, I believe it's going to get us to 1438 right here. You can see right here, the market makes a run here. We kind of stall a little bit here at 38. We come back a little bit. We, come back to what, like about 1382. We come back up to 1438. We kind of struggle just for a little bit, like for about a couple of days. Then we gap, and then we start running. And then on the way back down, they got through it, but you can see there was a grouping right here. Right around this 1438.40, market was just sitting there. See that right there? And just about, we might even overshoot a little bit, but right around that 1440. And then here, the market, after falling all the way down to what, 1180, market rallies all the way back up here to 1433. Now our line was 1438, but it falls $5 short of that and then slides right back down. So to me, I'm thinking it's 1438 is your line that I'm looking at on a very short-term basis for them to shoot to, and then from there we can start to pare back a little bit, and But obviously this thing has really gone gangbusters, but this is the area that you could go and look for this to go and come back. I don't know if there's even a fib there. You can take a look. Well, 1482 is a 50%. We've already gone past the 38%. So that's kind of smack dab close to the middle, maybe a little bit higher than the middle between the 38 and the 50. So like I said, everybody probably has their eyes fixated eventually on the 50%. And that's a tough lineup in here. Look at that. So once again, I think we could get a pause from that 38. That maybe it'll eventually dip below 14 if it gets up to 38, but then we'll probably ram right back up here. But we shall see. That's about it. That's it. Nothing else happening. We're going to move back into the main screen. It's a very quiet day. It's been quiet for about the last couple of hours, actually. But you can see here that look at the euro, still on the bid up in here, still not paring back. Look at that, just not letting the bears have any way with it. And look at the cash dollar index, really ready to open lower. And once again, just to touch back before we leave on this, keep your eyes open for 95.90. 95.98 is a 23%, but they're probably going to shoot past that. Down here, this 95.90. From there, I think then, which will probably kick us into the euro around the 1420s, I would think. And then from there, maybe we can make a little bit of a stand here. But eventually, I do think we'll make it down to this 95.65. That's all we got. Thanks for joining us here on the Daily Wrap-Up via ForexAnalytix.